welcome back to the channel. My name is Lauren if you're new here, and if you're not new, you may know that I have kind of fallen in love with Adept Cosmetics. They are an indie brand and they come out with some amazing eyeshadow palettes. So of course when they came out with one named Emo, I was like, yes, let me try this one. And now that I have it in front of me, I kind of don't know how to feel. So we are going to be reviewing Adept's new Emo palette, and it looks like this. It is an interesting mix, and what I like is that the inside does kind of represent the outside as well. Well, I should say the outside represents the inside, because we've got like this black and white duo sort of yin and yang thing going on, right? And as you're gonna see, I'm gonna show the swatches here as I kind of talk a little bit about the palette. As you can see, there is definitely some yin and yang to these colors. Specifically, you've got some like much darker colors, and then you have more like, I almost want to say they're pastel. And I don't know how to feel about the pastel colors, because if you know me, you know that I don't love pastel. But there is something about this palette that just drew me in. So we're gonna put it on my eyes to see if it was worth picking up, because this was an expensive palette, which I will put the price tag up here because I'm not remembering off the top of my head. I want to say it was like $70, but that could be wrong. So I want to see if we can get a good look out of this. I am a little nervous. The multi-chromes in here are so stunning. So I want to be able to give them justice. And they are, come on, they are what drew me in. Look at some of those colors. So pretty. But yeah, some of the more pastel-y shades, I just don't know. I don't know how to feel about them. So I already showed the swatches. Let's just do a look with it and see how we feel at the end of it. Who knows? This might end up being my favorite palette. Adept has come out with so many great palettes though, so there's some stiff competition there. But let's get into it. I have primed my eyes with my Guerlain Eye Primer. I know, the fanciest eye primer in the world that I got on like super sale because I don't think it exists anymore. But let's go into one of these colors. I don't know. I don't know. Some of these just came off as pastels, like the lighter colors. So I think I'm going to go into Storm, which is this gray, smoky, darker color. I'm going to kind of, I think, buff that on the outside of my eyes and go from there maybe and see how I feel about that. I will say my first impression when I was swatching this palette was that I didn't think it was necessary to have the dark gray, the dark black, and the dark brown, but then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, that actually kind of fits the emo theme, so it fits the theme, even if it might not be like up my alley, you know? I like when brands go with a theme, even if it's not a theme for me. Okay, next I want to go into this color Grable, and this is one of the ones that was coming off kind of pastel on me. So I'm not going in loving it, but who knows? It might look fantastic on me. Oh, well. I don't think you can see it on me. Okay. This is my problem with pastels. I can't see them on my face. Well, one thing that this color was good for, it was buffing out the edges of the gray color. So okay, that's okay. The problem that I am running into right now is that there's a lot of dark mattes, right? And there is a lot of what I think are all gonna be pastel mattes. So you either go very, very dark or very pastel, which, as we've just talked about, pastel is not my favorite. I'm gonna go into the pear color because the green does have more pigment to it than the previous color that we tried. So we're getting a little more color there. I just wish this one had more pigment. But also, I understand. I get it. It's like the emo theme, like black and white. No shades of gray except the one that's on my eye. I don't know. I'm running into another issue with this palette because typically when I am trying on a new palette, I like to use as many colors as I can. But with this one, I don't think I can use that many because they're just going to, I don't know, like if I use too many darks and too many of the pale ones, you're not going to see the pale ones, right? The dark is going to overpower those completely. So I don't think there is a lot that I can do in one look. I think I'm gonna have to do multiple looks with this palette at like a later date. So it's gonna be a kind of simple look. Maybe I'll do 2 looks. I guess I'm gonna have to do 2 looks in this video. So, okay. I put on some glitter glue because I think that is gonna be very helpful when we put down this color, another hollow, because that was definitely, when I swatched it, the most beautiful color. Still is. Look at that. And I'm just gonna put it right over the glitter glue. I'm gonna go back into Pear and I'm gonna put that underneath my waterline and see if it shows up. Did it show up? Nah, debatable. I think I need to put on some eyeliner and mascara. Let's finish up the look. And I already said I'm gonna do 2 looks. I think this palette just needs 2 looks. So let me finish this one, evaluate it, and then we'll do another one. First look is done. I would love to hear your opinions on this one because I am actually astonished at how much I love this look. It is a little bit darker than what I typically go for. I've talked about it before, but if I go too dark in eyeshadow, it just ages me and it doesn't always look the best. So I don't like to go too dark. And I feel like this is about as dark as I would like to go. We have the smoky gray, we have the dark multi-chrome, and I really like it. Mostly because this multi-chrome is one of the most beautiful multi-chromes that I have ever seen. I'm gonna insert a video that I took just showing off the color change in this multi-chrome because it is absolutely stunning. And I was not expecting a lot, and I am happy to say that it gave so much. It's so beautiful. Yes, so the video, you've seen the video, I'm kind of like astonished at how much that multi-chrome has blown my mind. It's so pretty. It's kind of made me do a 180 on this palette, and we are only on the first look. But I think we need to do one more look just to really get a good feel for this palette. Because again, there's only so many colors that I feel comfortable using in one look. So let's move on and let's do one more look just for funsies.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head because there are so many things that I left unsaid.
Done with look number 2. What do we think? I'm going to do the same as with the previous look and insert a clip of a video of a little more of an up close and personal look. I wanted the goal with this one to do something like very kind of like light and dark, so that's why I went for the dark brown and the pretty light green. The light green is a multi-chrome, but this one is hard to pick up versus the previous look where the multi-chrome really shone through. You could see those shifts. This one, a little bit harder to see, at least in my opinion. I think the first look was my favorite. I will say it had more of a sultry, mermaidy, kind of like a siren-y look, which I really love. And even though I typically really like a minty green, I don't know if this one in particular is my favorite multi-chrome. This is just one that had no base pigment, so it goes on pretty transparent. I think it'd look better if I put it on top of something, but I was kind of going for like a dark and light effect. So I think I achieved that. I think so. It also is just very springy. It's just giving me Easter vibes. So, and I don't know how I feel about that. But let's talk about my overall feelings about the Emo palette. what do we think? My first impression was that I wasn't gonna love it as much as I love some of my other Adept Cosmetics palettes. And I think that's still true. I think the mattes on this palette, little bit not my favorite, just because we have, again, pastels, which I do not love. I just don't love pastels. And then we have like 3 very, very dark mattes. One that's a gray, one that's a black, one that's a brown. I kind of wish there was one that was like a dark purple, but again, I get it. It's giving emo vibes for sure, 100%. So it's going with the theme. But for my preference, I do wish there was something a little more neutral, somewhere in the middle of pastel and dark. Kitty, my cats are going wild, okay? It's spring break. Cats gone wild for reals in this household. Look at this one. It's maniac. The grayable color had such potential. It just would have been so pretty as like a grayish lavender color, but on me, it barely showed up. You wouldn't have seen it on camera because it was just not there. So an even pair, the green that we did, very, very little pigment. And again, this is just a personal preference. I just don't love pastels. I like something with more pigment to it. I really do. But then the dark ones are a little too pigmented. So apparently I'm just really picky. There is an in-between to the dark and the light. I swear there is. We have to give credit where credit's due. These multi-chromes are absolutely fantastic. So beautiful. Again, I have to give a shout out to Another Hollow. One of the prettiest holographic multi-chromes that I have seen in a very long time. So pretty. And there is a couple others that I think are going to be just as pretty. MC1 looks like it's going to be a unicorn rainbow vibe, which I'm down for. Coal Dust is pretty dark, so I don't know how that one's going to play out, but it did look like it would be another really beautiful multi-chrome that I will have to put on my face. Overall, I will say this is not my favorite palette from Adept Cosmetics. It's not. I just have some that are so unique and so special, and just like every time I use them, I'm kind of stunned. I will say though, when I used Another Hollow, I was pretty stunned by how beautiful that was. So pretty. So, you know, there's still like some winning shades in here, but overall I would say it's not my favorite palette just for what I like. Again, I just need a more neutral color to work with. Too many darks and too many pastels, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I do like both the looks that we came up with. Again, look number 1 was definitely my favorite. I like this look. I don't love it though. You know, I loved the first look though. So I can clearly still make looks that I love out of this palette, but it's just good to note that it is very much what it is advertised as, right? Like a dark and light. You got the dichotomy between the 2 colors. So if you're looking for a good transition shade, you probably will need to pull that from a different palette, because again, none of these really worked for me as transition shades from the dark to the light. There's a very stark contrast between like the colors on my eye right now. It worked, but if you're looking for something that's more of a transition shade, I don't think you're gonna find it in this palette. So overall, I like it. Not my favorite, but there are colors in here that I definitely do love. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I feel like people are just not into reviews as much lately, but I still love a good old-fashioned eyeshadow palette review, and hopefully you did too. If you haven't had a chance, please hit that subscribe button. It would really help me as we grow my little channel together, and I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye!